where all the other universities are going down this track of, of only favoring two sports really, and neglecting the rest of the 99%.
Right.
CBU has the unique opportunity to set itself apart from these universities and show that these other sports matter.
This is the Full Tilt Podcast with Hatch.
Okay. All right. Nolan Kessler.
Hi. How's it going, Mike?
How we doing? It's a pleasure meeting you. Obviously out here, sitting talking to Derek Moore. Incredible human being.
Yeah.
What a story that guy's got. He's just a really, really great dude. And but I figured it would be a great time to sit down and kind of talk about the current landscape of really the Cal Baptist University program. Obviously here recently, there's been a decision to drop the program and not continue it. You being an alum, 2014, 18, you've obviously pretty heavily invested in this program, and not only from just what it's done for your life, but some blood, sweat, and tears in that thing, because being a 4-time national qualifier, 3-time AA finalist, at the D2 level. So now you're leading the coalition of Keep CBU Wrestling. Just, just to give you a chance to kind of talk a little bit about what the current state is, what's going on, what the efforts are moving forward, and we'll just kind of get into it from there.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Mike.
Yeah, of
I really
course.
appreciate
Absolutely.
it. And congratulations on getting this all started too. And
looking forward to it.
So to kind of give you a snapshot of what's happened, we found out January 2nd of this year, so just a little over a month ago, that CBU was cutting 3 men's programs, and namely the wrestling program there. And like most people, I was really shocked and kind of disheartened to hear that, given the success of the program and what the opportunities that it presents to our community here. I grew up here. I went to high school here in Riverside, wrestled here in college. I had other options coming out of high school, but I chose to wrestle here at California Baptist University because I wanted to compete in my own hometown. Mm-hmm. But so I think that this hits home to me, and I was just shocked as anybody else, but I started rallying some of the alumni members, and we have approximately 100 wrestling alumni that are very passionate about leading this coalition as well and supporting our efforts to preserve the wrestling program. And I think that this wrestling community, like outside of our alumni or just here in this pocket of Southern California, I think the wrestling community at a national level has been through a lot with other programs that have been attacked. And I think that the community is saying enough is enough, and that we want to do our best to preserve college wrestling. I mean, we saw it recently with Cleveland State, that program was discontinued. We saw it with Fresno State before that. We saw it with Stanford in 2021, and there's been several others that have been under attack, including some here in California, Bakersfield, Cal Poly. They all fought their battles, and fortunately for some of those schools, they preserved their program. And the difference is, in a lot of cases, we need the entire efforts of the wrestling community to combat these decisions. And I think it is kind of bigger than wrestling to some extent. I'm biased. I love wrestling. It's my favorite sport. And you might say the same too, Mike, but also there is an attack on Olympic sports.
Yes.
We've seen since the changes. So. Since the changes of the NCAA and the addition of NIL, like we're talking within the last year, I think 44 Olympic programs have been discontinued. So there's a lot of changing in the landscape of NCAA towards favoring sports like basketball and football or mainstream sports, which is showing some devastating statistics. And I think our message to CBU in particular is that we need to be a leader at this time and separate ourselves from the direction of other universities that are, I hate to say this, but kind of like following the sheep, like following the herd, because we're seeing schools like Rutgers University, Florida State. These schools are millions of dollars in the red. Like Rutgers is a Power 4 school, which means that due to their participation in NIL, they revenue share like $120 million per sport per year. So when you think about that, you're like, well, they must be doing great. Like they're, have all this ability to revenue share. And Rutgers is $50 million in the red.
Wow.
And there's several other schools that are popping up that are vastly in the red because they're throwing all their eggs in one basket. And that's in these very expensive, costly sports that we typically refer to as revenue sports. Like basketball, we think, oh, it produces revenue and it's a great, great sport for enrollment. But when you look at the actual statistics, it's really not. A lot of these schools are throwing much more into those programs than they're actually receiving. And so our message to CBU is that let's not be a sheep that's walking to the slaughter like the other universities. And also it's a worthy fight. These Olympic sports are under attack. And this year we're having the Olympic Championships here in Los Angeles. And so I think that a lot of people, when they heard that CBU was cutting Olympic programs the same year that we're having the world in our backyard in Southern California, I think that it sends the wrong message that rather than cutting these programs, we're having the talent of the globe come right here in our backyard. We need to be preserving these programs. So it's about wrestling. It's about opportunity that wrestling specifically brings. And it's also the preservation of Olympic sports. And I think a lot of people don't know the level of opportunity that wrestling brings. I think we know it within our wrestling community, but outside of wrestling, there's not a lot of knowledge in terms of like the NCAA statistics show that wrestling has the second highest percentage of first generation college athletes. So that's pretty major, because if you think about kids that come from maybe underserved communities, or they're having, they don't have the opportunity to pay for a 4-year collegiate program, but they're going to a 4-year college because of the opportunities that wrestling brings them. That is going to impact future generations of their family. Now that you have someone that their kids are growing up in a household where their father received a 4-year college education. And we have stories like my friend Mario Barrios, who I wrestled on the team with. He came from a very difficult area of Los Angeles. He's like 5'3". He was a 125 pounder. So he's not going to find success in football, basketball, likely, right? Like there's outliers, but for the most part, like his opportunity was through wrestling. And so, he's a first generation college athlete that is only going to a 4-year college program because of the opportunities that wrestling brings. My friend Irvin Zayala, who also wrestled at California Baptist University, he was not only a first generation college student, but he's a first generation American. His parents are from Guatemala, and he loves America. He bought into the American dream, went to CBU because of the opportunities that wrestling brought him. And now he owns several businesses here in Southern California and is very successful with those businesses. And, there's other stories like my friend Austin Client. He's a doctor now. He's a first generation college student, went to med school, became a doctor, and many stories like that, where we want the message to the public, even people outside of the wrestling community, that we need to protect a sport that uniquely is a lifeline to opportunity. And so I think that's why we care about this so much and why we're really pushing back. And, I've seen comments online like, well, why don't the kids just go somewhere else? There's other programs and, there's wonderful programs out of state. And that's certainly true. However, this program is the only Division I wrestling program in Southern California. Southern California, from San Diego to Cal Poly, SLO, is bigger than most states in the country. And California wrestling has the highest, if not, top 3 highest number of high school wrestlers. Doesn't mean that everybody is, pound for pound, all the wrestlers are just as talented as like a state like Pennsylvania or something. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that the vast numbers of California wrestling are so high, and our programs and opportunities that we have at the collegiate level are so low. Like if this decision goes forward, we're talking only 3 Division I programs in the entire state of California.
Which is crazy, because their membership here is ridiculously high. The number of kids that wrestle in the state of California is it is very significant.
Yeah.
Very significant.
There's states like, I mean, Pennsylvania is kind of an outlier,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
they have
you know,
11, I think, Division I programs. We have now almost 3, that we're taught. So
You know a state that's got a lot of Division I programs? It's North Carolina.
really?
Yeah.
How many?
Yeah, they did. Well, just off the top of my head,
State.
NC State, North Carolina, App State. I mean,
Yeah,
that's 3 right there. I mean, they had Greensboro for a while.
Yeah.
Duke is another
Yeah.
one. I mean,
That's a great point.
For a state as big as California, to only have, Cal Poly, Stanford, and CBU right now, it's like, man, come on there.
Yeah. And maybe I don't, some of your listeners might be from the Midwest. They might be the East Coast, or they might be here in the West Coast. But I think that this isn't just about California. It's not just about a particular area, geographic area. This is about the success of our sport. I mean, we've seen Stanford, they were able to preserve their program, and they're in their own right, a very tough program, and they bounced back and they're doing very well. But I think that some people in our community, they might not understand that our sport is under attack, and that especially given the changes in the NCAA, it's important that we set a precedent that universities cannot just drop wrestling and not expect a fight, and I think wrestlers, they just have it in their blood that we're going to fight tooth and nail, whether it's a third period, overtime, like we're not going to just take anything lying down. So there's that. And also most of the wrestling community understands that the opportunities that wrestling provides.
Yeah, for sure. So what's the plan moving forward?
So right now, there's two main goals right now. To keep it simple, it's just raising awareness. So, thanks again for having me here, Mike. Like this, just things like this, like getting the public to understand that this is an attack on our sport and Olympic sports too. So awareness, and also raising funds at this juncture. So we have a website. It's called keepcbu.com or www.keepcbu.com. You can pledge your support. You can buy a t-shirt just like this one, Keep CBU Wrestling. And all the funds go towards our coalition and our efforts to preserve the program. And in just over a month, we raised $1 million. So, a lot of funds, a lot of people helping. And that's like, we're not even considering big donors who have already stated that they're willing to contribute. We're just talking like everyday community people that just care about this CBU wrestling.
Wow, you guys raised over $1 million. Without even big donors.
Yeah, no big donors,
amazing.
just people, everyday people, just getting the word out that, hey, this, if you care about the program, please consider pledging. And another thing that, if you're kind of on the fence and you're like, well, what if they're not successful? And now my money's just going to some cause. Like if your pledge is under $1,000, then you essentially, that's something that you'll make, like you actually donate. If it's over 1,000, then it's a pledge, meaning that you only are obligated to pay that if we're successful and we actually preserve this program. So it's kind of a win-win situation where if you're like, well, I'm kind of on the fence. I don't want to give my money towards something if I'm doubtful or if I don't think that it's going to prevail. Well, you're not expected, like we're not coming chasing you down for the money. And in fact, we're not even asking for anything unless we're successful. So that your money's going to something worthy, like a worthy cause. And we're very hopeful that we can get this decision changed. The university.
That's what I was going to next ask. Is how's the university's, I guess, response to the, lack of a better word, the fight, what's their response been like?
Their response has been kind of what we expected, honestly. The same response that they advised, like Stanford Wrestling, that we're never going to change our decision. It's final. No amount of money is going to change our decision. And basically, there is, to my knowledge, there's a playbook. Like when universities want to make a decision and they know that there might be an opposition to the decision, you want the public to think that it's final and that there's no way that they're going to change this decision, because why would you want an opposition or people kind of voicing their disapproval? You're a leader of a university. You want your decision to stand.
Of course.
So you tell everybody below you, and you yourself say that, well, we're never going to change our decision. But something, there's been a lot of helpful people in the wrestling community, one of which is Jason Borelli. He was the head coach at Stanford at the time. He's the current head coach at American University.
Yep. He's great. Jason's the man.
He's awesome. Yep. Every time I speak to him, I get fired up. And,
he's a great dude.
He's told me a lot about what went on at Stanford. And one thing that kind of he's brought up is that the university will say that this is a really hard decision, it was very tough for us and we're saddened by the decision. But in the same breath, it'll say that no amount of money is going to change our decision.
Yeah.
And his point is like, that doesn't really make sense, because if it's a very difficult position or decision that you made and you feel bad about the decision, but someone hands you $100 million, you're going to change your decision, And so he kind of brings out that it's a little bit hypocritical to say that we care about you and we it was a hard decision, but yet we won't accept any amount of money.
Right.
You can get all the philanthropy, get all the donors in the world, and it's not going to change our mind. It doesn't make sense. And so that's why we want to push back and see,
because the reason behind it was what? I mean, because that's a great point that Jason makes, because what was the reason behind from the administrative perspective? What was their reason?
So if you go to the original article that they posted on January 2nd, there's like a frequently asked questions section, and you can look at, what was the reason. It just generally says Title IX. It doesn't go into like detail. It doesn't elaborate. But so from what my conversations with the athletic department is, they are claiming that they're not in compliance with Title IX, and that they had an option to either cut the 3 programs like they did, male programs, or start up several women's programs like every 2 years. And they made a decision to cut the 3 men's programs because they didn't want to spread their resources among several programs and new programs. I think, that in my opinion, I mean, I want to make clear that like, I'm not here to trash the university. I love CBU. I'm an alumni of CBU. So if anything, like I want to support the university in every way that I can. That being said, I think that we want to approach the university collaboratively and say that let's find a solution. And we just want a seat at the table. That's all we're asking, to discuss all other alternatives. That being said, I think it's a little bit, from an outside perspective, it's a defeatist mentality to say that you chose to cut 3 programs and eliminate 3 programs when you had a choice to grow your university and add, more female sport opportunities. Yeah. So,
female wrestling.
Yeah. I think female wrestling is one of the fastest growing sports.
Fastest growing sport in the country.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, you have the facility, you have a wrestling room. You have it's not like you need to purchase an entire new room. So I think it is a convenient excuse to blame Title IX. I don't think that that's the real reason, but nonetheless, that's what we have. That's what we're going off of. And, but it's important that the public understand, there's 3 ways that you can be compliant with Title IX. There's several prongs. They're blaming the proportionality prong, which just says that you have to have equal number of rostered men's as equal number of rostered women's positions. And Mike Moyer, who's also been another one of our community that's super helpful. He's the executive director of the NCAA. He's armed me with a lot of statistics that I didn't know of. And one of those is less than 10% of colleges actually attempt to obtain compliance through the proportionality prong. We all think it's equal opportunity for men and women, but there's other ways that you can be compliant, and less than 10% of schools are actually trying to be compliant through the one that they're blaming, the proportionality prong.
Really?
And it's because it's so difficult. You have to, if you're not within 2% of complete compliance, then you're not meeting your criteria. So other schools choose other avenues, which is you just survey your students and you ask them hey, ladies, do you need more opportunities at the school? And if your general student base says, no, we're okay, we're doing fine, we have enough opportunity, then you're on your way towards compliance. And then the other way, which we kind of talked about already, is just adding women's sports and opportunities for women.
Right.
So, I think that the signs show that it's really, they just don't want wrestling. They don't want the other 2 sports that they cut. And in my opinion, they should just say that. Be honest with the public. Don't hide behind the shield of gender equity and Title IX to say that that's the reason why you made this decision. And I think that they should be honest with the public.
Right. So now, what's the timeline moving forward on this? I mean, like, as far as where you guys want to be financially from the fundraising perspective. When you would have to, because you mentioned you just wanted a seat at the table. When would you like to have the seat at the table by? What's the timeline like?
Well, we really want to have some concrete discussions before the NCAA tournament here in March, because that's when the most eyes are going to be on wrestling, and specifically, God willing, we have some wrestlers make the NCAA tournament, and the eyes will be on them as well. So we want to have some discussions prior to the NCAA tournament, so that at the point in which we have momentum and there's eyes on this movement and coalition, that we get the support of the entire wrestling community. So in terms of fundraising, our goal is 20 million, which sounds like a lot of money, and that's the same thing Stanford was told. I think Stanford ended up raising like 12 million, but they preserved their sport. And we would like to have as much fundraising going into the national tournament as possible. And we have several big donors that are interested in contributing, but we haven't made a specific ask from them yet. But I think it would be awesome to be closer to where Stanford was, like prior to the NCAA tournament. So that's kind of our goals. But again, it's just really about awareness right now and raising those funds.
Yeah, that's right. So now, let's say, for example, you guys get the funds raised, get the awareness raised. And then moving forward, where does that take you? Like, say, for example, you raised as much as Stanford, and I'm not sure, I don't know all the specifics, obviously, with the Stanford situation. They raised $12 billion. How good is that? How long is that good for? What's stopping the universities from 5 years down the road saying, you know what? Okay, yeah, 12 million is gone, or it's time to move on. We're discontinuing again.
Great point. All these efforts are for nothing if it doesn't ensure the future that this program is, well funded and everything. So that's a great point. I think that endowment, the 20 million is based on an endowment. Like, that's what it takes to endow the program for, I believe, several years. And it's based on like 5%, which is 1 million. And that's like the operational cost, to my understanding of wrestling. Right. That being said, like we see, like Birmingham, I think it's called, university. Binghamton,
yep.
Sorry. Binghamton. We saw it with Bucknell. Like, those sports were under attack, and they were able to reverse the decision. Since then, I think Bucknell had a supporter of wrestling that gave $20 million to their university since like they decided to bring it back. And a lot of that money actually the school benefited from, because they opened up this beautiful new training center, and it's for the students to use. So, and then Binghamton is like a very similar circumstance, where I think they were given like 25 million to the wrestling program since its reestablishment. So that's, what we want to convey to the university is that this is not, it's a tough decision. We acknowledge that you had tough choices to make, but this is our example of other programs that were saved, and example of other donors that truly care about the program, and now you're benefiting you're getting $20 million towards your university because you made this decision to save the program. So we want them to kind of, at the end of the day, our message, we want them to be the hero in this situation. Yes, we believe they made a bad decision. I make bad decisions every single day. Yeah. But I think good leaders kind of are able to come to the table and say, look, I messed up. Here's what we're going to do moving forward. And I think that if they were to take that stance, that it would be powerful, and they would have the support of the entire wrestling community, people well outside of the wrestling community, the Olympic supporters. And I think that they would be a hero in this situation, where all the other universities are going down this track of only favoring two sports, really, and neglecting the rest of the 99%. Right. CBU has the unique opportunity to set itself apart from these universities and show that these other sports matter.
Now you were mentioning before, obviously it's attacked not only on the wrestling side, but really Olympic sports in general, because they cut 2 other programs. They cut 3 total. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes. That's
wrestling. Right. Was it golf?
Swim and dive and golf.
Swim and
you
dive
got
and
it.
golf.
Yep.
Has there been any, I guess, like joint collective efforts between the 3 sports to kind of help, maybe reinstate the 3, maybe adding whatever, women's golf, whatever. I mean, however to balance it all out?
Yeah, I've been in touch with some alumni from Swim and Dive, and we've been in touch, I think, through the wrestlers, through some of the golf program gentlemen, and there are some efforts. I think, not to put any program down, but wrestling is just, we have that kind of, like, we've been through this a couple times, so we're a little more sensitive, and the community really fired back really fast. So we saw a really big movement from Keep CBU Wrestling, but we want to work with those other programs, especially because it is about preserving Olympic sports, and swim and dive obviously is it's an Olympic sport, and they've had like probably arguably the most success of any other program there. Like swim and dive has been very successful, which is kind of ironic because CBU cited like competitive excellence as sort of one of the reasons for their decisions. But so we are talking with them, working with them, and we want to show the university it's not just wrestling itself that's against this decision, but it's a cohesive movement by the golf team and the swim and dive as well. Right. So we are communicating with them. It's just the community, outside, like the public seems to be really pushing Keep CBU Wrestling, and so. But we want to marry those efforts and get the more help like that we can receive, the better, I think. And I feel for them as well. And I feel for especially like a golf team to not have a voice, and you have like 8 kids. Like I think that's really sad, you know, and for them to be in this position, like if we can preserve each sport, I think that would be the ultimate goal.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Okay. So one last plug, give us, reason, action steps.
Sure. Our reason is opportunity, lifeline of opportunity that wrestling uniquely brings, preservation of Olympic sports, and those are the 2 main kind of goals. But I think that easy things we can all do, like tangible steps that we're asking, is just visiting our page, Keep CBU Wrestling. Consider donating. If you can't donate,
keep CBUWrestling.com.
Yes,
and then also Instagram page.
Also Instagram. We're on Facebook. Okay. We're on X or Twitter. Okay. We're on LinkedIn.
Everything.
So
all social media.
The socials.
Social platforms.
Yes. So you can visit all of them. You can see our content. We're constantly posting, like if we have a video testimonial or just different updates. We have the endorsement of like our district attorney here in Riverside, Mike Kistler.
Yeah.
We have several congressmen that we've spoken to, state congressmen, senators that we're already in contact with that plan to endorse our efforts. So, updates like that come out, we post it, and anybody can view it. But so really just following us, supporting us on social media, and also going to that website and helping us with donations. And if you can't donate, we get it. Just feel free to share that website along, and you can do anything as simple as buy a T-shirt, get some swag, support our effort, and all those funds go towards our efforts.
Yeah, just the socials on that's an easy lift for anybody.
Yeah,
just follow on social media. I mean, that's an easy lift.
Absolutely,
sure.
Absolutely, and it's been we have alumni, we have high school coaches here in the community, we have business owners, law enforcement, this is a wide variety of people that are coming to help. It's not just led by the alumni. It's not just the students themselves. Like there's efforts from people across like different spectrums, which is really fun to see.
Right.
And, we intend to just stay hopeful, continue to fight this fight because we think it's a worthy cause, and it sets a precedent that wrestling, if you're a university and you're expecting to just follow down that rabbit hole that we're seeing as a trend, the new changes in the NCAA, expect a fight, and expect that that people care about these programs.
Yeah, perfect.
Awesome.
Nolan,
thank you.
Thanks so much for your time. That was awesome. Yeah, we need to get this word out and get people following and paying attention and really backing your efforts, because we need to keep this program. It's a great program. Derek's been doing a fantastic job there. Great person. He's awesome. And like I said, the program's been doing great. So yeah, best of luck to you guys, and let us know what we can do moving forward.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
And congratulations on getting everything started. I'm excited to follow myself.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's good, man.